Hi there. I want to invite you to a very special moment where I had a sit down with one of my spiritual fathers, mentors, and main influences in my life, Brother David Hogan. And he has spent the last 40 years of his life pouring into the indigenous people groups of Mexico. They have seen phenomenal miracles, signs, and wonders, but not just that, a generational legacy of sons that have raised sons that have raised sons. It's a perfect model and example of a lot of the content that I've written in my Legacy book series and that we're doing with our Legacy Academy. Brother David is a patriarch that has forged the way and created space for sons to grow and flourish and find their purpose in what he has forerun. And so come with me now as we go behind the scenes. I have 10 questions in this series that I really believe you hearing his answers will give you keys to have longevity and success in your personal life and legacy as you grow with Jesus in your calling and destiny. Let's go now. Brother David, thank you so much for being here with us. My wife and I, we love you and we value you so much. And we're excited to do this little interview with you. And I appreciate you pouring out for everyone watching. From the years of your ministry and your walk with God, I just believe there's nuggets and truth and wisdom that we can glean from this conversation. I saw you for the first time when I was 19 years old in New Zealand, and I watched you, and now I've followed you, and now God's brought us into a relationship, which I'm so humbled for. But the thing for me that has impressed me more than any of the miracles has been your consistency and your faithfulness and your longevity. And I think in my generation and the generation that is really coming forth right now, that is probably one of the greatest things that we could stop and pay attention to, because there's so much failure and there's so many accidents and so many fatalities on the road of life. I would want to ask you, for everybody watching, what are the keys that you can give us that have brought longevity and consistency? You've stayed faithful to the precepts and the pillars of truth, and you've held them, and that's something people look to. And so I would greatly appreciate what you see are those keys, maybe a few of those keys that have brought that about.
In my opinion, because that's strictly what it's going to be viewed as, and that's all right. I take everything serious. You know me. Yeah. I don't mess around much. I'm always joking and playing when I'm talking, but when it comes down to life and death, you have to have your mind made up ahead of time. I was born into a I don't know if you could say a perfect family, because my brother and I we're the ones that made it not perfect. But my mom and daddy, they really showed us. My daddy came out of the World War II. He got saved after Okinawa. And he came back, started commuting from North Louisiana to South Louisiana, going to school, raising a family, working. And he and my mama committed. All right, I didn't know what that was, of course, then, but they committed to the gospel, to the raising of a family, to the raising of a church. They started a church in a little carpentry shop on the bayou. And that thing's pretty good size now. It's a big old thing now. Yeah, it is. Good place. But they taught us. I never once saw my parents fight. I never saw my daddy raise his voice at my mama, at my mama or at him, and so that's some really. I was not that good. I'm not that good of a person, but I am a good husband, a good dad. I love my kids. I love my wife, And it's a choice to do that. And it puts stability and longevity ahead of certain cravings and lusts and desires. It's not to say that down through my life and around me there hadn't been opportunities for mistakes, because there has, just like anybody else. And some of them would have played out probably, but God intervened, or demons, or fortitude, or love. So some major force intervened in my life to help me to make a good decision. But you got to let that happen. I mean, you have to look at it and weigh it. And somebody else's longevity in life has to matter to you above other cravings, other ideas, other possibilities. If not, you're just going to be changing things like you change your shirt. Yep. And that don't work out very good. And here again, I'm saying that, and that's going to hurt some people's feelings just by me saying that, because people made some bad decisions, and you're going to think that me personally, I am against them now because I said that statement. That's not true. My hand's out to help. I would probably do my best to help everybody I could that would let me speak into that whatever scenario. And I saw my parents make good decisions all the way to my daddy's death, and now my mama's 92, and she still loves. She's every morning you'll find that woman sitting in a chair, holding her Bible and reading it every day of her life. And that's what she taught us. And that's what I carry through in my family every day of my life. It doesn't matter if I'm off or doing some off days in a row or whatever. It is the will of God for me to consistently discipline myself to believe in the future of everybody that's around me plus myself. So one of the key is for me, like with my wife, I have zero things held back. I sit with her and talk to her about stuff that probably would make somebody stumble, to know that it was it that I would ask or talk about it. But being a human, we have failures and drawbacks that are constantly trying to win over us. And for that to not be successful, I trusted my wife and took a chance and told her the truth about some thought patterns and so forth in my personal life, and she allowed me the right to talk to her, and so that's helped me over the years. And with her, our marriage, controlling, because I'm emotional. One day I wake up, I'm over here. The next day I wake up, I'm over there. But there's got to be a corralling of it. That has to be done. You have to do it, and you have to let somebody help you do it. So I let my wife, and she's a pretty strong lady, and she's not afraid of me at all. And she'll talk to me and tell me what she believes the truth is, and so we'll sit down and sort it out. And that helps. That has helped, even now, as our ministry's still growing, so everything's growing, the team's growing, the finances are growing. So I'll sit and I'll tell her, all right, look, what do you think about this idea? And she'll come back later and say, well, have you thought of this? And some of the stuff I haven't thought of. And so it helps to have people that you can talk to that will give you the truth about what they're thinking. Yeah. That helps. Other people's truth with your truth makes a stronger truth. It hones it. It makes it sharper. It makes it better, stronger. And then I got my people around me, that talk to me. They tell me their opinions, and we go back and forth. And my sons-in-law, my son, even my daughters, I let them speak to me. And I asked without them knowing it, I asked even my grandkids about certain things, and they'll do it because they just tell you off the top of their head what they think. And sometimes it actually turns out to be God speaking to me. But because I want to know, I don't want to do, I don't want to waste time, I don't want to waste money, I don't want to waste energy, and I don't want to be disappointed in a way that would cause shipwreck for me or anyone else. So for me, it has to do with being with my wife. I'm pretty honest with her. Probably. I don't know if I had to put a percentage on it. It'd be pretty high. It'd be in the 90s somewhere. I mean, there's a couple of issues I deal with personally, but not very many. And so just talking to my wife has helped me to, and then watching the way my parents did and treated other people, and because we were never raised to be prejudiced. We were raised that all people are equal. And so once you figure out that that's a true statement, that there's no elitist system, that it's a lie, it won't function.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time, it'll be thrown down. But once you figure out that everybody's the same, actually there's a freedom and a walk in that helps you carry on further as well.
That's powerful, and there's so many things there. What would you say? There's so much there. What would you say to the person in regards to that, with this longevity and consistency? You've talked a lot about the framework that's held you up, and the decisions and the determination. Yeah. I have decided to follow Jesus. I am not deviating. I'm not negotiating. What would you say to the person? You talked a lot about your family. You had a good example of a healthy mum and dad. What would you say to the person that didn't have a good, healthy example of mum and dad?
Get that in your life.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to trust somebody, because when you don't have it, there's a lack of trust that will be established. It's a bulkhead, or hell is going to use that as a battering ram against you. And so you have to make a decision. And you'll probably be let down here and there, some, but in a minute you'll find somebody that is serious and wanting to move forward. And when you do find them, you should listen and talk it out. And then whenever you do disagree with whatever counsel they gave you, you should tell them. You should go there and say, look, I heard you and I listened to you, but I'm not going to do it. And let them decide how they're going to approach that. You don't decide for them. Because if they're trustworthy with you saying no to what they got to say. But you need to hear them, whether you do it or not. Listen.
That's so good.
It is. Because none of us hardly do that anymore, because you don't have to. The government does it for you. Somebody in a bank somewhere is making decisions for your money. Somebody's making decisions for your kids in school. So you've been deleted out of a lot of decision making in life. You pretty much have rules that are set up that you have to do, or you'll get into some sort of trouble. But for me, I'm not going to do that stuff. I'm one of the older thinker people. I believe all those people work for me. I don't work for them. And so I think differently about how a banker is, or a doctor, or a politician, or someone like that. I don't believe that they have the right to control my life. That's left up to the Holy Ghost and fire.
Yeah, come on. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think if we can, before we move on to the next question, I really would like to tap into this thing, because you've been married a long time, you've been in ministry a long time, and although things come at us, you've gone through major storms and assaults and onslaughts from the enemy, you haven't budged. If you could put that into one word.
Let me say, before we do that, let me say, I quit probably 100 times. I come in, throw my backpack up against the wall, and just the frustration of the lunatics. I mean, just doggone it. I mean, because you're out there, and I would never say that I'm a good person, but what I'm doing is right.
Yeah.
And it has, if we can connect, it has the opportunity of some really good roots happening and changing a whole lot of people away from chaos and failure into success and stability. And when people just absolutely are ruthless about this, about defying the gospel, sometimes it's annoying. And you want to just, I've come in and I just, they won't, hell with it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not. But then in the morning, my wife will get up and she'll look at me, and every time she says the same thing. She says, "So am I packing, or what are we doing?" And it's always, well, we'll give it another chance, and just stay in put, make it, because that's a good decision for us, but it's a better decision for people that are living in that chaos, which I'm not. My life's sometimes chaotic, but I'm not living in chaos.
I hope you've enjoyed this moment with Brother David. Check out this series where there's a whole bunch more questions like this, talking with Brother David, one of my spiritual fathers and significant influences, in these really raw and very vulnerable moments where you can glean treasure and keys for your personal life. If you'd like to learn more about this, you can go and check out my Legacy Academy. It's available at andrewbillings.org or commissioninternational.com, or you can click the link below. Equally, check out my series of books, Legacy, and other books, resources that I have at andrewbillings.org. You can go to the book page. It's been great having you join. Look out for more as we roll out more moments like this one. Have a great day.